Mm-mm.
Is it?
Welcome to Opposites Distract with G
Distract.
and Bo Yoakley. If you're new to the podcast, I'm a broadcaster, a radio professional, loosely, for about 18 years. And Bo's been acting in Hollywood for 12 years or more.
In Atlanta, but we call it Hollywood.
Yes.
Hollyweird. Yes, it's Hollywood of the South. Yes, yes. And also some hand modeling.
Oh, he's very good.
I have done hand modeling before. I'm not kidding.
Oh,
They're like,
really?
yeah, when you picture your hands, I'm like, here are my hands. And they're like, great. And it's like you just like hold something
stuff.
in photos, and which is shocking because my cuticles are atrocious, but whatever.
I've done some skin tag modeling mostly.
Yeah, because you have them like all over your body.
Yeah, like under here, like especially when swimming, they're like, hey, we need something for this dermatologist. I'm like, bam. They're like, oh, okay.
That is a very prominent area for people to get them. Oh, why is
Yes,
that?
it's the rubbing. It's the rubbing.
Well, why don't you get them down on your ding-a-ling?
You got to have one for that to occur. Some might call that a skin tag of sorts. Anyway, we're going to talk about Minecraft, the commercial success of Minecraft.
Yeah, huge. Original. It's an original thing here.
Yeah,
it has IP, but it's an original idea.
Yep. Sinners, which you saw. And, we might get into a little bit of the interview heard around the world, the awkward interview with Bill Belichick. He's 72, his girlfriend's 24, and she's apparently running things. And so we'll get into that in just 1 second. So
I can't wait to hear your take on that.
Oh, I got a take on it.
I'm sure you do.
I'll tell you. I have multiple takes on that. But Minecraft, this is a game, that's obviously made.
Hold on. You're jumping ahead. What? For those who have been following the podcast,
yes,
you may have noticed there was a little gap in time between our last one and now.
Yes.
We won't get into logistics, exactly what happened. However, we will say it's important who you do business with, and always have a private detective kind of do background research on these people. And if there are pending lawsuits on this person already, it's a good indicator that maybe you shouldn't cozy up to them and do months of work and promotion and stuff. It could the rug could get pulled out from underneath you. So let's just say that's all.
Yeah, there's no. If you notice, there's no presenting sponsor anymore. There's no studio.
That's right. No studio sponsor. We are currently seeking sponsorship for those who are looking to really elevate your brand. Hit us up.
Yeah, we'd love to. Just we're on all social media. Just hit us up, and there's all sorts of different opportunities. And our reach is substantial. Not to brag, but just so you know,
it is. Yeah.
On TikTok and Instagram and all the.
Well, that's why I wanted to address it, because I feel like there were some people who are like, I've got asked all the time, when do you guys it? And it's like, well, we're gonna get some stuff ironed out first, but we're ready to rock and roll, baby. Feeling refreshed.
Yep.
Go.
We have weekly podcasts, unless there's something bizarre that happens, but weekly podcasts. And
we're gonna be doing remote too, like this. We'll be doing remote for a bit. And so it's gonna be a little more cozy, because I'm actually naked from the waist down, if you didn't know.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, and I am actually wearing 4 pairs of pants.
Oh.
I like to be warm in my house. I like to have a lot of sweat action going on.
What do you keep your house on? Seriously though, like you like it pretty warm.
Right now it's 72.
God.
At night I do.
You on blood thinner?
Actually, I am on blood pressure medication. I think it helps. But at night, sometimes it gets down to, like, in the winter, I just turn the heat off. And so it'll be like 58 degrees in my house.
Same.
But
same.
But also, I don't want $1,000 power bill. So
we had to get new units in our house because we ran them in the wintertime. Even like we'll have the fireplace on, but have the air going. Like I like it a brisk 60 to 63.
That's crazy.
Where you got to wear a jacket in your house. That's why most of them I have a jacket on in the middle of the podcast. But the kids like it. They stay nice and cozy, and
Yeah, I mean, your power bill has to be crazy, though. I mean, I guess if you have new stuff, it must be.
Hey, man, if you got to ask, right? If you got to ask what the power bill is, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Just don't even worry about the power bill.
I can put it down like 10 degrees. I'm like,
Who touched the temperature? That's you?
For real. I'm that guy.
I'm like, who turned the heat off? Or who turned the heat on? And who turned the air off? That's what I want to know, because it's too hot.
My power bill was like $550 last month. And I'm like, I do have a Tesla, but it only adds 100. What is yours? Is it way more than that?
I swear, I'm not. I really don't know. I would say in the range of 300-500, somewhere in there. I don't.
When you don't know, you're doing well. I'll
No,
just say
I'm not being stupid. I really.
no, no, I
I
believe
don't.
you. If
It's
you don't know,
drafted
you're
out.
doing
It's
well.
drafted out, and so I don't even. I don't notice.
I get like an alert in my email, but it says, "Hey, this is your usage half the month." I mean, I asked for it. They just sent it to me, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing pretty good." Then the end of the month, I'm like, when did that happen? Anyway.
Well, I do occasionally get a text, but I always it just don't even. I don't know. It's like halfway through the month, like you said. It's like halfway through the month. It's like 250 somewhere in there. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
imagine somewhere at five. Like I said, I don't know, 500-600
Right.
somewhere there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000, something like that.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to, Jared? We're
Or Ava,
working,
who just finished her run as SpongeBob and
and I
SpongeBob.
saw it,
You did
and
see it.
she was awesome. She carried the show.
She's
She did.
yeah, it was a great show, wasn't it, for high
It
school
was
kids? And
absolutely.
she's my daughter. She's my daughter, but she's very talented.
I asked her if she wanted to go to conservatory, and I think she looked at me like,
What's that?
that's an insane asylum. I'm like, no, a conservatory is like where you go to really hone in on the art of it all.
Ava, come say hello, right, real quick.
You can say hello. This is not a big formal thing.
Use your SpongeBob voice.
No.
Hey, Ava.
Hey.
How are? Yeah, that's definitely not the SpongeBob voice.
No, definitely not.
You did great. That was awesome.
It was
It
great.
was so much fun to watch. She's now going to be in Little Shop of Horrors and then Shrek the musical over the summer. But anyway, it's fun to watch.
I like real quick. I like the seating arrangement that we had at the first half of the play because I was on the end. I had space beside me, and you were to my left. The second half of the play, your friend, who's larger, sits right beside me, and you're on the other side. So I literally was like this, and it wasn't as relaxing, but it's fine. I got through it. No.
Yeah, no, I know. It's I was so worried about you the entire time opening night for my daughter. But my friend, he came at the last minute, and he was like, and I look back, and I'm like, oh, you're here, and I'm like, oh, dude, I felt bad because he came to see her, and it's like he saw us, come sit with us, but yeah.
It's all good. It was fine. It was just being in an airplane for me,
Oh yeah, it's like a nice, comfortable meat sandwich.
Weren't they talking about like reducing the size of airplane seats too? Like I heard that recently. They were like talking about like
we're trying to get more seats in.
We can eliminate and add like 2 more rows, and it's literally like I'm 6'2.5", 6'3". That I don't have space.
I'm 6'8", and so I mean it's like the leg
5'8". Yeah, I think you are 5'8".
Yeah. And so no, there are actually some airlines have floated the idea, pun intended, of standing up for their flights under a certain amount of time. Seriously, so because they can have. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like on the train, and they can get a lot more people. It'd be cheaper.
Short flights. Honestly, I don't hate that. For like shorter flights, like maybe here to New York or something, like 45 minutes. You can stand for 45 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But going to LA, nah, forget that noise. Forget that.
All right, so that's what we've been up to. Bo's, he's out there auditioning or and
taking the meetings, going out to building. It's a constant cycle of getting new team members, agents and managers and such. It's like dating. Most people don't understand. Like people think you get an agent, that's the end all be all. It's like, man, you get an agent so you can get a better manager, and then the manager's gonna get you a better agent, and then the agent's gonna get you a publicist. And man, it's a constant climbing up these rings of agents and managers and what have you. It's boring, but at the same time, it's like
no, I find it interesting. Like because I mean that's not the life for most people. Like even with me, I signed contracts with the morning show, but I remember they had a guy that was an agent. Or got an agent at our radio station, and like everyone at the radio station made fun of that person, so no one else did it. They didn't get an agent.
Oh, really?
I think if you get into like New York and different things, you might have an agent.
Yeah. And plus, too, like they get a fee for getting you to that job, right? And so probably the agent's job is to negotiate a higher salary or a higher hourly or whatever, however you work on. So that may be another reason why if the radio station didn't like that, because they may have squeezed him for a little too much and caused a little more attention.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was, and it was just like what? Because it seemed audacious because no one had done it before. But also, is that really a bad idea? I mean, and then we're syndicating a couple of markets maybe. But anyway, no one else.
I know some really prominent actors. In fact, we had her on, Elizabeth Tavish. She has a publicist, but I don't think she even has agents or managers. And she was Mary Magdalene in The Chosen. So I think it can be done. People do, make it without that. I think being in the Southeast, though, particularly, things are filmed here. Everyone knows things are filmed in the Southeast. It's like been on all our records from Virginia down to Florida and Louisiana, Albuquerque. But like things are casted and all the production offices are in Los Angeles still. So like regardless if they're filming here, they only film here for the tax credits. But out there, that's where all the studio heads are, all the decisions are made. So that's why having, you know, an LA based team or, you know, at least, you know, some team member in LA is highly advantageous. I mean, if you want to go.
Oh no, I can. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's interesting to know because I didn't know that. You know, I mean, I did hear David Spade was talking about how, you know, he has this movie called Busboys that he funded with Theo Vaughn and wrote with Theo Vaughn. And he purposely filmed it in LA because he said everything else is being filmed in Atlanta and Toronto, and really anywhere else. He said, but they did complain. He's talking to Rob Lowe about how hard it is to get things made in LA and how costly it is. But
so much red tape, so many decision makers, and all these permits. Like if you're filming something on the sidewalk in Los Angeles, and like you do it for a long period of time, cop comes by, they'll shut it down, even if it's just like a self thing. So it's really bizarre. I think in the Southeast a little bit more freedom in that right now, but they're probably gonna be cracked down on soon, I'd imagine. But you know,
well,
it is. As long as I've been acting, I've never filmed in Los Angeles.
Really?
I
didn't know that.
I've never filmed a single day in Los Angeles. No. Now, a lot of the productions are out of Los Angeles, but even a lot of people who live in Los Angeles. I was working with someone, and she was living there for like 14 years. She's like, I've lived here, and all my reps are here for 14 years. She's like, I've never filmed a single day in Los Angeles. I'm like, why are you in LA then? She's like, I don't know. It just seems like now there is a symbolic, a like meiosis that happens when you're around producers and casting directors and writers, and you kind of get this relationship, and it kind of makes things, can grease the skids a bit. I think it's what a lot of people go to LA. But you know, as far as and the cocktail parties and the, you know, the hill parties
The
and
networking,
there's a huge networking opportunity there for sure. But as far as just like brass tacks, I mean, it's a crapshoot now. You can pretty much be anywhere. I mean, people are all over.
Yeah, and Rob Lowe was saying that, you know, he's filmed a lot of stuff in Toronto. He said, but it's not even Toronto anymore because they say, all right, you're going to Toronto, but then you're really 30, and you maybe seen this 30 or 40 minutes outside of Toronto because it's cheaper, there's less regulations. And so it says all the big cities are kind of hurting themselves with all these regulations. So
anyway. I did 2-3 Hallmark movies up in Toronto, and none of them were in Toronto. Like you come into Toronto, it's like, oh, we're shooting in Barrie, we're shooting in Newmarket, we're shooting, you know, in these smaller towns outside of Toronto, because I'm sure filming in Toronto is still just as expensive, probably as LA. It's just that there you go, these smaller towns that, you know, are right outside. And so, but even in Atlanta, everyone knows the big Marvel studios down in Atlanta. It's not in Atlanta. It's 45 minutes south. It's in Fayetteville. So it's not in Atlanta, but people still associate with Atlanta. Like,
yeah, it sounds better. Yeah, like, you know, you say, oh, I live in Greensboro, but really you live in Kernersville or Stokesdale or I'm just saying because people don't know. They're like, what's that? I mean, most people wouldn't know what Greensboro is anyway. Or I live in Charlotte, but no, you live in Moxville. You know, people do that.
Yeah. I have friends that do the same thing. Yeah. Anyway, Minecraft. Sorry, we digress.
No, it's fine. That's what I love about podcasts. Like on radio, like we go off on things. We have to at least start with the thing and then go. But that's what I love about podcasts. A lot more freedom.
There's a lot more freedom. As long as you don't have someone holding the reins telling what you can and can't talk about.
That's right.
Which we don't have.
Yeah.
Not anymore. We're free. Right. We can say what we want to say. Some more cowbell.
No, but exactly. No, I like freedom is great. I'll just say that. Freedom Minecraft, a video game that both my kids were obsessed with. There's like an age group. I don't know if it's like 7, 8, or 8 to 10. Where it's like consumes their lives. They're building their own worlds, and it's cool. So the movie is coming out, and it's Jack Black, and you know he's the star of it, and then Jason Momoa, and it is actually, as someone who would watch the kids play the game sometimes, and they want me to play with them, it was really, really entertaining, super funny.
I hear that. Yeah.
Lots of humor. You don't have to know anything about It helps if you know a little bit, of course, but you don't know anything about Minecraft, and so I think that's part of the genius is that, let's say you're taking your kids, a lot of teenagers are going, but you're taking your kids, you know, my kids, especially they don't drive, and they're like, hey, you just stay with them and watch it. You're like, this is cool. And then they tell their friends, and you know, they've done a great job with that.
Yeah.
And
No, it's really blown up, like as far as that, like I said, that age sect, but then I think it's spread now. Because even watching the game looks like something that we may have played growing up. It's
right,
very like pixelated, and it doesn't
yes,
seem like a very fun game, but like people make a living streaming their Minecrafting. And it's just like
no,
people watch them do this. And the only thing I've really seen about the movie, besides the fact it's like blown up, because I haven't seen the film yet, full
yeah,
disclosure,
yeah,
is when that chicken jockey or something comes up and
yes,
people lose their minds and they're throwing
yes,
popcorn and beating up people and lighting the theater on fire. It's just like people go bananas. And I don't,
yes.
again, I don't understand it really, but you know, at least they're enthusiastic.
Well, and I was waiting for that, but then I went when I did go. It was like during the day, and I took my son Ezra, who had no idea what it was about, but he enjoyed it. But most people, it was during the day, and everyone there was it was during spring break, so a lot of people there were like people taking their kids that were like 4, 5,
Yeah.
6, 7, and so they didn't know anything about that. But my son, who's a teenager, said that was a thing. The chicken jockey thing happened. People were yelling, and then like I think the person who created it was like, "That's fine to do it," but then people started bringing live chickens to the theaters and stuff, and so, like it's crazy. So far, it's made over 800 million. It's going to cross the $1 billion mark, and McDonald's, smartly, they've done some really good collabs. They'll have like the Travis Scott meal, or they'll have Angel Reese meal, and basically it's stuff they already have, but it's like what they would order. So it's their custom meals. But they had a Minecraft meal that had a cheap plastic Minecraft toy in it, 6 different ones. You can still get the Minecraft meal. It's like $12 to $15, which is a lot for fast food.
From McDonald's, yeah.
Yeah, but you can still get it, but they're out of toys. They've run out of toys. My son has me calling different McDonald's, asking if they have the Minecraft toy, and then
it's China. China, dude. It's the tariffs, dude. The tariff are causing a stranglehold on the Minecraft toys at McDonald's. That's the problem.
He put a lot. I mean, big tariffs on Minecraft.
Yeah, well, on stuff from China, those things are made in China. So I'm sure it is.
And McDonald's is the #1 manufacturer of toys, of children toys in the world.
Really?
Because of the Happy Meal, the hundreds of.
Really?
So you look it up. They're constant. It's a weird little nugget of information I learned a while back, but because every day across the world they have to have a toy in that Happy Meal, millions every single day. So they manufacture more toys than any other toy company in the world. McDonald's does. Isn't that interesting?
It's insanely interesting. I remember going up and there was the Beanie Baby phase,
Oh, yeah.
And they would be, putting Beanie Babies in like little mini ones in the Happy Meals. And I remember doing this, I was like, 24, 27 with my mom, and she would drive me around and we would go and look for the Beanie Babies. So I'm not ashamed of it.
No, yeah. I mean, it's like you're a slow learner. You're a late bloomer. A late bloomer.
I wasn't in a hurry to grow up. All right, I'm still not. Look. I haven't grown up at all. I'm a kid with money and a profession now. But I'm still just a kid. I think it's an important aspect is keeping that youthful spirit alive. Making your 10-year-old self proud.
Yeah. So if I had to recommend a movie that if you just want to go and have fun, Minecraft is very well done. It's very funny. And it has adult humor, and Jason Momoa is actually really funny in it. And Jack Black is Jack Black. I mean, he's just great. I mean, he's all in. He's all in, being silly. And then what's her name? She was in White Lotus, and then she died season 2. She was in American Pie. I don't know why her name is escaping me, but she's in it for a little bit. The older lady, Stifler's mom.
Oh yes, Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, she's in it. And she's not in it a lot, but her character is so bizarre and funny. She's like a divorced teacher.
She's like perfect in that role. Yeah.
She leans in as like being really pathetic, but it's really funny. Go see Minecraft. It's a lot.
Yeah. Here's good. And I like the fact that it's original IP.
Yes.
So this whole big shift in like what's going on with Hollywood and film industry in general, it's like there's been a lot of studios come out and say we're only going to go after original IP for stuff. We're not even going to be creating too much new stuff. I mean, if it's a big studio, so what that means, like they're going to take video games, they're going to take like books, they're going to take other series and redo them and revamp them. That's their big thing now. And so, you're probably see a lot more of this kind of stuff popping off. I mean, they've done video games before their films, and a lot of times they're misses in the movies. The series, though, a lot of times are good. Last of Us, for example.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, it was great until if you haven't seen it.
I'm not caught up. But
Oh, you haven't seen episode 2?
no.
I won't ruin it for you, but Pedro Pascal dies.
I know someone dies. It ain't him. Why would you do that?
Because I love you. Because I love you.
It's the people who are listening will be pissed at you.
Dude, no. If you haven't watched it, it's been out for a week and a half. It's your fault.
A week and a half is not, no. That is not the like, oh, you should know by now thing.
And then
a year, 6 months, maybe. Like Katie was mad that Game of Thrones got spoiled after she started 8 years late. It's like, you can't be mad about that. A week,
okay.
It just aired on Sunday, didn't it?
My brother is mad, okay, because there was a movie came out 15 years ago, and he still hasn't seen it. And anytime I try to talk about it, he's like, "Don't do it." I'm like, "It's like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, literally."
Yeah, the time has
passed. And he's like, "Don't tell me." I'm like, "Don't tell you." I was like, "He's been out for 15 years, man. What are you doing?"
Yeah. No, there's definitely a statute of limitations.
I think it's a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, if it's a HBO top ranked series.
On Sunday though, right?
Yeah, but it was a Sunday. Not this last one, the one before.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
does he really die?
I can't tell you. I'm
like we're watching MobLand, and I was ahead of you, and I didn't tell you. Oh, this happens, because I want you.
MobLand's great. MobLand is great. That's probably one of my favorite shows going on right now because it's Tom Hardy being Tom Hardy. We went to go see that Venom movie that he was in, and you could see the pain in his eyes that he had to shoot this. You know what I mean? Like contractually, it's almost like he just did not. It wasn't him. It was just the story was shite.
What movie?
Venom. The second or third one. The third one. The third one
was horrific.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the first one and two are great, but the third one was like, oh,
so
bad.
And Tom Hardy and Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren. It's Paramount Plus, right? It's that show is, or it's just not getting out there as much.
Yeah,
you don't hear a lot of people talking about it.
Well, we're going to get it out there. We're going. It is really legit, and my favorite director, producer, Guy Ritchie, is doing it. The guy who did The Gentleman, the ones I'm always on and on about his best stuff ever. He's the one who's executive producer of it. So he's like guiding the ship. But you can tell it has that quirky, funny English kind of thing going on. That's what he's known for. So it's amazing. You haven't seen it. Get on.
Great story, and the acting is phenomenal.
Speaking of acting, phenomenal. Sinners. You haven't seen it. Now, you may have some numbers on Sinners, but you talk about an original. This is a original banger of a movie, and everyone's talked about it, but it is that good. It's amazing.
It did win the box office, which I think was a little surprise over Ben Affleck's The Accountant 2, and then they re-released Star Wars, which actually beat Accountant 2. We have 45.7 million. That's a great opening weekend for, like you said, a total original, right?
Total original, and it's going to be grossing, I think, a lot more than that. That's all it is. I thought it was like close to 70, but it's been amazing.
That's just
really
was
amazing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Wait. Was that weekend too?
Yeah.
So I think you're right.
So I think it's close to 70. But it's a really a amazing twist on a lure that I think everyone loves. Everyone loves vampires, right? And everyone loves the mystique of, selling your soul for fame kind of thing. And it's tied into that in a way. And it's a really, I won't ruin this movie for you at all. But like a cool thing that they did was most of the time people think about Nosferatu, vampire, right? Just evil to the core, just horrid. Well, the vampires are really friendly and really nice, which is a lot creepier. Like they're really friendly and really like they sing and they dance and they kind of almost are trying to attract you to them versus like strong arming you and attacking you. In fact, a twist is, I'm not ruining anything, but like you have to invite them in. They can't come in unless you say you can come in. That's a cool little twist, right?
Well, that's not to ruin anything. That's like standard vampire stuff. Like the show True Blood, you cannot go in unless you're invited. That's kind of like in vampire lore.
Right. That is the lore. But the thing about like Nosferatu, Van Helsing, Blade, none of these movies tackled the issue of like you have to be invited in.
That's true.
These guys really harped on it. They're really nice and friendly. So like the fact that it's a really cool idea, and I really applaud Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, like everyone in the whole cast was a home run, and that's the kind of stuff I like to see. Is a lot more original, cool stuff.
Yeah, no, and I didn't know. I'll be honest. I saw a preview for it. I didn't know it was a vampire movie until you just said it. Because I think they kind of left it open like, what is this?
Yeah.
In the original trailer, maybe I'm sure there's been 2 or 3 trailers. That's my
Yeah.
fault. It did open Easter weekend, 55 million. Then it had a fall weekend at 45 million. So it's won the box office.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's at 128 million domestically and like 170 worldwide.
That's
It probably
big.
won't. Yeah. So, I mean, and
That's big for an original. You know what I mean?
what would we think the budget on something like that? 30? Maybe?
Maybe 50. Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
50.
if I was to guess, I'd say that. Like, they made it back first weekend. And for a movie to do that nowadays, most time it's going to be a Marvel, Disney. It's
Yeah.
very, very popular to do that. But, this is one of those ones that it gives hope to people who are creating new content of like, there are some ways that you can get things made that are not, a Disney or a Star Wars or a, Marvel film, which is great.
Yeah. Katie on our show, she gets so upset every time. Like, there was something that came up today that it was like remake of Miami Vice. She's like, is there no new? And it might be fun, but it's still there's no new idea. She gets so upset when there's Then she saw something like Saltburn, which I didn't like, but she loved it. It was like it's not some remake; it's an original.
Yeah.
And they took some major chances, and she loved it. But
yeah.
I can see
Well,
that.
if you remember my guilty pleasure movie, do you remember what I said? Miami Vice. Colin Farrell.
Oh, I know you love
Foxx.
Miami Vice. Yeah,
That was my. So when I saw that today on Deadline, I was like, oh my God. And people are saying they should get like the original cast from the 80s, Don Johnson and the other guy. They're saying they should bring them in to do this film. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I heard Rob Lowe. I just happened to hear an interview with him, but they're doing St. Elmo's Fire 2 like 40 years later with the original cast. They're still developing a script. I'm like, I never saw the first one, but apparently, that was like a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind a remake. I like a mixture of like watching something original like Sinners, which I haven't seen yet, but I want to see it, in Minecraft. And then also, if they remake something and they do a good job of it, I had no problem with that.
All about it. Particularly, there's been a time lapse there. For example, Gladiator 2. I mean, some people hate it, some people love it, but like, I heard a really interesting debate on that, how it kind of like destroyed the lore of the first one. I never thought about it like that. But like the fact that this guy in Gladiator 2, not to change the topic, grew up being born, Lucius, the same time that Maximus's son was born, at the same age as they addressed that in the first one. But that means that Maximus cheated on his wife, who was the love of his life, and was who was trying to get back to the whole journey was to get back to, and the devastation when she died. Spoiler if you haven't seen the first one. But then like that lore is all gone with the second one. I never thought about that until I heard these guys discuss. I'm like, that's actually true. They really should have gone in a different direction with Gladiator 2. So I kind of have reframed not really liking that movie anymore.
No, I mean, I'm a big believer. If you have new information, then you can make changes to your opinions, or maybe usually it's something that's like super important in life. But there's sports commentators. They're like, oh, I think this person's this, and then over time they become better. Like, I was wrong about it. That's okay to be wrong about it, or
absolutely.
change.
Absolutely. No, I mean, if you don't, then you're living with your head in sand, and you have no valid opinion. I try to constantly change it. So, Gladiator 2.
I need it. And you know what? I still haven't seen the original. Shame on me for that, because that's an iconic movie. I did just see for the first time ever Godfather 2 for the first time ever. And Godfather 2, people are like, oh, it's better than the first one. It ain't close. But Godfather was excellent. I mean, I can see what the hype was about, especially at the time. And then we watched Casino, which my girlfriend had not seen. That movie's sensational. I mean,
banging movie.
To me, it's my favorite mafia movie of all time.
It may be mine too, honestly. I mean, that is, or The Town. The Town technically is kind of like mob related with Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner. Speaking of Jeremy Renner, he had something to come out like with his like the actual details of his massacre almost.
Yeah, when he got ran over by that snowplow, he's coming out with a book. The book is out. He's promoting it. But I think he grew up, I almost want to say he grew up Catholic, but then kind of like not so much anymore. But he said after this experience, he says he now believes there's life after death. He said he had this almost electrical charge peace that came over him. And he said he technically died. He said and he's had this afterlife or near death experience that really has changed his perspective. But he felt like he said he could feel and hear every bone in his body getting crushed. Even his head was getting smashed so hard, he could see his left eye out of his right eye. Like his right, his bulging so much he could see it. Like he's like it's going to pop out. He said it's just he cannot believe the snow actually saved him. He cannot believe he's alive. But so
well,
the
yeah,
book,
it is a miracle for sure, for sure. Yeah,
and he's such a great actor. The movie, was it the Mayor of Kingstown? Oh, have you seen that?
Yeah, the show.
Yeah, it's a great show. He's a good actor.
Amazing.
I like that. I like that guy.
No, he's great. I love
Check out his book. I mean, the book is. I mean, he's going into great detail about the whole thing and the recovery, but he goes into great detail of that day and everything that he felt that broke and everything that broke was smashed, and the chances of living and surviving and the near-death experience is to me the most interesting part.
Yeah, me too, actually, and it's actually pretty common to have people with near-death experiences. I've heard come back on the other side like, oh no, there's definitely something. I don't know if maybe it's not a very popular story of like nothing happened when I died, but I don't hear too many stories about that. I hear a lot of people talking about this, divine presence and feeling whenever they die, and I think that's really a positive thing. I think that I sat on the fact of it's better to believe in something and there be nothing than to not believe in anything and you're wrong.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I would rather believe, well, maybe you did, maybe okay, whatever. But there's nothing, and then you're wrong on that. That can be pretty devastating. I think even Joe Rogan talks about this. It adds a lot of value and discipline to respond to there being a higher power than just oneself.
It does definitely change. Bill Maher, who's an atheist, he did agree that it does change behavior for the better.
Yeah.
For most people, unless it's a radical thing. If you're a fundamentalist or a radical.
Right. I mean, there's terrorist organizations, the Crusades.
Person. Yes. So
there's all this stuff that's the extreme, but I think by and large, for the most part, the principles taught in most that are definitely a positive for humanity, and I think there could be a lot more of that in today's society.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then we'll wrap up with Bill Belichick. He's now the coach of the Carolina Tar Heels college football team. 6-time champion. Some consider the greatest NFL coach of all time.
And dresses like a hobo.
Huh? Yeah.
Dresses like a hobo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They call him he has the hoodie and he has the cutoff sleeves and he goes.
I saw his interview. He had a big tear in his sweatshirt.
Yes.
And doing like a Dateline or somewhere.
Yeah, CBS this morning, and it wasn't a gotcha interview. He agreed to it.
Yeah.
And he's 72 years old. He's a 24-year-old girlfriend, and he wants to talk about his book. And his book's all about his NFL career. But everyone's talking about not only do you have her as your girlfriend, she's running your social media. She's the head of your media company, which apparently he doesn't have really right now. And they asked him a question: how did you guys meet? He said, everyone wants to know. They talk about your relationship. How did you guys meet? She's not being interviewed. She's off to the side, Jordan Hudson, and she goes, we're not talking about that. Which makes it so weird. When you say we're not going to talk about it, it makes people think it's shady. If you just said, we met on a plane, which some people say that's what happened. But I think the reason is they've known each other for 4 years or been together for 4 years. So she was 20 and in college, and he was, some say, in a relationship at the time and, 68 years old at the time. But it just became like, oh, this is this weird kind of bizarre story of an older man who's wealthy and someone who comes across as a gold digger. Because is she happy about a 72-year-old man when you're 24? Is that what you're looking for? Like, would you be with a 72-year-old man that made $30,000 a year? The answer is no.
Right.
And so people are like, okay, it's kind of whatever. But now it's turning to like, is she like super controlling? She comes across very controlling. And for a guy who has seemed to be in control his whole career, and that he would rip Tom Brady after 6 Super Bowl wins in front of the entire team. But then he has this 24-year-old woman that is like controlling his life. That's the way it comes across.
Well, maybe that's what he wants. Maybe he's one of these guys who's had it all, and because of that, he, hired some 20-year-old girl to kick him in the nuts to turn him on or something. I don't know, but like that's the thing. Like guys in ultimate power, that's like a stereotype.
Yeah,
they want someone to put them in their place, and to hear that, because I'm kind of out of the fray of the whole the sports world in that regard, but I did see that, and to me that strikes like there's okay, if you're going to do it, and more power to you. She's getting what she wants. He's getting what he wants. Everyone's happy. But then to not want to talk about it, it's weird. And it's like,
right.
obviously this is a huge discrepancy in age. There's something else going on here. If you like getting kicked in the nuts to turn you on, great. But like, you don't act like we have the problem for wanting to know why how you guys met.
Yes. And it's not like they're hiding it. He's like on every red carpet, she's
So
half
weird.
naked. He's in a suit. He actually dressed up for that, not for the interview. And it's like, and I think there is culture, because I think all people want security. And I think women overall want it more than anything. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's always a price to pay if you're with someone for any other reason besides you truly care and love them. Because again, she would not be with Bill Belichick if he were Bill Belichick, who lived,
the concrete mason. Yeah.
She just wouldn't. And nor would he be with her. And this sounds cruel, but the reality of this situation, well, one, if they were the same age. Two, if she was 24 years old and ugly and not attractive, he would not care. So there's that trade-off. And so there's a price to pay for both of them. I just wish they would both be like, it is what it is. Like, I'm older. I got money. She likes that. I think she's hot. It is. But they try to make some fairy tale thing. And it's not.
Right. I mean, I think that there's a limit for some people, though. Like, being that your age currently, you wouldn't date down to 18. So, like, what's the threshold for you if you were single? I know you're not, and I'm not. But, like, I'm 37. So, like, the threshold for me to date would be, like, 32, maybe. Yeah. But, like, anything below that, it feels icky. If I was in high school and you're in diapers, or he was retirement age and she was being born, that kind of thing is really weird. It's like,
he has grandkids older than her.
There's something
that should be a cutoff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anyone's business. You do what you want to do, but I'm saying, like, don't be weird that people want to ask questions about it.
Just answer it. Now it's made it more weird. It's made it weirder.
Right, precisely. Well, what's your age? Like, what's your limit then? Because you're 58.
10. Yeah, no, I'm 70. 10. So the last two people I was in a relationship with long term, I was 10 years older then. But they're 35, I'm 45. And I think, but yeah.
So they're 16 and you're 26? Ew.
But you can do that with anything. You could do that
dude.
That's
disgusting.
So is 80 and 70 gross? No, it's not.
I think it needs to be like 80-year-old guy, 32-year-old girl.
Well, that's what he's doing.
Exactly. I have no problem with it
now too. There's more. I mean, it's famous women. You don't see that in real life, but famous women like Madonna has like a 25-year-old boyfriend. Cher has like a 20-year-old boyfriend. It's like,
it's pretty prominent. But I think with like me, like my age that I'm attracted to now is my wife's age. Like, I've evolved to like not. I think that's what's weird is that people haven't evolved their age of standard that they like as they've gotten older. Matthew McConaughey. That's what I love about them senior girls. I get older, they stay the same age. I think that's weird. Like, I think you have to evolve with your age bracket to a certain extent, or it gets really murky and weird. And this is like the underlined, bold, highlighted version of that. It's like, this is bizarre.
Oh yeah, like I remember, I met Anna, and she has 2 kids. She's a college graduate. She has a master's degree. She's lived life, and then I didn't even know when we went out. Then she was like, I was like, oh, at the time she was 33 and I was 43. And I was like, oh, I mean, she's more mature than I am, but of course, if you take it back, you're like, oh, when I was 13, you were 3. Of course, that sounds gross. But
I know, so I did it.
Yeah, I know. But as you get older, it's like 55, 45. No, to me, I think probably the max for me would be like 10, 12 years max. But I'm not opposed to dating. Like my first wife, I was 4 years older, and I've dated people my own age. It's kind of gross.
Dating your own age? Yeah. I've never dated a girl my own age, dude. I've always dated down.
Yeah.
I want them to look at me like a father figure in a way. And so that's when, like, my wife is 3 years younger than me. And so I have like kind of the superiority. Like, listen, I've seen things. I can tell you and guide you in life. You need to listen.
Have you been 37? I don't think so.
You don't know the plight.
You don't know.
I'll tell you what's coming. Yeah, I agree. That's weird. That's a weird threshold for me, honestly. But
there is, and there are a lot of people out there. A shocking amount. When I was single, there's a lot of gold diggers out there, and just as bad, if not worse, a lot of men that take advantage of younger women by throwing money at them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think because I think gold diggers get a bad rap, and they should, because you're with someone for their money. But then I think it's equally as bad in the circumstances where these men, they're 20, 30, 40 years older. They're like, it's obviously insecurity too. I don't have anything to offer. You're not going to like me for me because I'm older. I'm going to take you to some fancy trip, or I'm going to spend a bunch of money on you.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the internet's, rife with that example, exactly. So,
100%.
It gets you a good partner, hunker down for the long run. That's the way of doing it, man.
100%.
Yeah,
All right, man. I love it. It's good to get the back
it's
on
great
the.
to get the dust off.
Yes.
Back in business. We are here for the long ride.
Yeah. Exciting things are on the horizon,
Yeah.
and we'll discuss those things when we can discuss them. So.
Yeah. Big stuff. Jared's going to be nude. That's one of the things.
Well, don't ruin it. We'll start partial. We'll start partial.
I'm already partial nude. I'm just totally naked from the waist down.
Oh no, next week is we're going portrait mode. Or portrait mode, yeah.
I gotta leave. I'm just kidding.
Whoa! As a reminder in COVID, like people with these Zoom meetings, they start, whoa, no, dude, what are you doing?
Or like, they forget that there are cameras on and they start like wanking it on Zoom and stuff.
The guy from CNN is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You can't wait till it was over.
And the same thing with like listen, I need to say this is important.
Yeah.
Professors in universities with like their tabs up, and they'll plug their computer into HDMI or whatever, and it's like on the big screen, like the porn they're watching, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen so many videos now. I'm like, dude, you're at school too, you pervert.
Yeah, dude, you need to freaking double check that or not do that.
Just don't do it, you weirdo. All right, it was fun, brother.
All right, homie.
We'll see you guys soon.